I'm really putting myself out there with this information. It is very personal and it's embarrassing, but I really want you to see that I can do this, and maybe you can too. Things are changing. All right, welcome back to another episode. So I'm going to give you a little progress report here. It's about 5 weeks into this thing. Today's date is January 15th. I started on December 7th. I'm recording this on my computer, which I've never done before. So the camera's right there, but my data is all on my computer. So you're going to see me just kind of moving my eyes around and not looking at the camera much. But I want to go over some of this information. So I'm going to flash on the screen right here. You can see the two reports. I'm hoping to get them both on the same screen. On the left is my original report back from December 7th, and it talks about some of the statistics that you can see that have changed. First of all, you can see my body fat was 33.1%, which is horrific, of course, but keep in mind I'm only 5'2", so that's a lot. Of that body fat, of my total weight, 57.9 pounds was fat. So I'm carrying around 57.9 pounds of fat, which is a lot of fat. And my lean muscle mass of my total weight was 112.5 pounds. So my body fat percentage rank means I'm just at risk. So I'm in the 20 percentile, meaning that 80% of people have better fat numbers than I do. It shows here that my BMR, what I'm currently burning every day, is 1,573 calories. So that's not a lot. My BMR is actually slow compared to other people. So those numbers are not anything to be proud of, for sure. Then if you look over to the right, you see the same information, but some things have changed. First, my body fat went from 33.1 to 30.6. This is in 5 weeks, December 7th through January 15th. So I'm really excited about that. The difference is that I've changed my diet to be more of a high protein diet. I'm still eating plant-based diet. I'm always going to be a vegan, but I try and do as much whole food, plant-based as I can, but sometimes I'm just having to do processed stuff. I mean, that's just part of eating high protein when you're limited to 1,400 calories a day, which is what I'm doing, all right? Plant-based diets has all of that information. And if you look at my fat mass was 57.9 pounds. Now, my fat mass is 51.4. So I lost a bunch of fat, which was my goal. Before, when I was losing weight, like I was never sure, am I losing muscle, am I losing fat? So that's a big deal. Now, as far as my muscle mass, it was 112.5 pounds, and I did lose a little bit of muscle. It was 0.4 pounds of muscle, so less than a half a pound of muscle. Most of my weight loss was fat. And up until this very moment in my life, I could not tell you that that was the case. I couldn't tell you what weight I lost up until this moment. For every other diet or every other food plan I've ever had, I could, when I was doing the starch solution and I lost like 20 pounds right away and then lost almost like 30 and then it stopped. But I don't know what I lost, if it was fat or muscle. I wasn't protecting my muscle with protein. In fact, I was just doing whatever the minimum protein was, whatever you get from potatoes, which is enough to survive for a vegan for sure. But, it wasn't enough to preserve muscle if I'm being honest. So for sure, this time I can tell you that I've lost a bunch of actual stored fat, which is really exciting. So now my body fat percentage rank is still at risk. Nothing changed there. But before, my body fat was lower than 20% of my peers. That meant 80% of my peers have better body fat than I do. Now, my body fat is lower than 30% of my peers. That means 70% of my peers have better body fat than I do. So, I mean, right there, that's a huge difference, right? I just gained 10%, which is fantastic. All of this from, changing my diet to be more of a high protein diet, watching my calories, keeping it at 1,400 or under each day, and by working out at the gym with the trainer, hard for 3 days a week. And that's what I've been doing. Just having that person waiting for me at the gym That makes all the difference. When I look at my BMR, this is interesting because I don't know how this happened, but this is actually not good news. So my BMR was 1,573 calories a day. That's how much I burn, really doing nothing. And now I'm supposed to be increasing my metabolism, but it's 1530 a day. My metabolism just adjusts to anything I do. So that's quite a bit of a change there, which is I don't understand what happened there. How did my BMR? I should be burning more calories a day doing nothing, but I'm burning less. So that I'm going to need some explanation on. But my BMI, my body mass index, went from a 32.0, that's basically how fat I am, to a 30.7. So overall, those numbers are just amazing. Other than the BMR, everything there looks fantastic. So this is pretty interesting. If you see these pictures next to each other, on the left, that's my picture from, I mean, it's a horrible picture, and I don't want to show this to you, but if you look at it, that's my picture from December 7th. And to the right, there's a huge difference in my body shape, right? On the right, that's from January 15th today. And all of those like points where they measure, each one of those green lines is a point that was measured. So if you look on the left, the very first point is my neck. Look how thick my neck is. I've always had a very thick neck. So my neck there is 16.8 inches. If you look on the right, it's a much smaller neck. I mean, look how much thinner my face is, right? My neck here is 15.9. So I lost like an inch off my neck, which I never would have thought of was a thing. If you look at the next few lines around my waist, I'm not sure which one's which. One of them's abdominal, one's lower, and one's narrowest. But the abdominal one went from 38.1 to 36.1. I lost 2 inches off my waist. My lower waist went from 39.6 to 37.8. And my narrowest part of my waist went from 37.0 to 35.0. That's 2 inches off my waist in 5 weeks from changing my diet and going to the gym 3 days a week. That's fantastic. Like, I can't wait to see what happens in February when I do this, right? As you go down, the numbers kind of work the same way. My body's just tightening up everywhere I go. So I'm really excited about that. If you look at the silhouette here, you can kind of see the difference, right? Like, I just look like a different person all the way around, especially the profile one. Like, my belly protruding out there is now starting to flatten, which is pretty exciting. And then the rank and all that stuff, you can see here, it's kind of a sliding scale. The 33.1 has me in the deep red. The 30.6 still has me in the deep red, but notice the at-risk starts at 28. So if you're up to 27.9, you're average. Well, I'm a lot closer to average, which is 27.9, at 30.6 than I was at 33.1. So that's pretty exciting. Then when you compare with others, I'm all the way over to the right on the first summary, right, at 20.0%. And then I've slid over to the left quite a bit to be at 30.0%. So, I mean, numbers, I'm a numbers person for sure. And those are just fantastic numbers to get started with. So I just wanted to share all that with you today. I am inspired and I'm pretty excited. And, if you've followed me for a few years and, I've just struggled with this for so long. I mean, obviously I'm still struggling with it, but I'm definitely seeing measurable results from changing my diet here. I've gotten a little bit of flack about not being whole food plant-based, right? And I get it for sure. And if I wasn't sticking to under 1,400 calories to 1,399 or less, then I would totally be eating a lot more beans, right, to get my protein for this venture I'm on. But I mean, it's just not going to work. All right, so that's my video. I wanted to share my news with you. I wanted to share the progress and the numbers. I'm very excited. I'm not telling you to do this. You do you, boo, right? You know what I'm saying? But I'm just sharing with you what's working for me. I mean, I'm going to be 60 years old this October, and I'm running out of time to change things because, I'm healthy. I got no problems right now. Now's the time to make it work. Once the problems start, once you start getting older than that, there's no going back. All right, hit that like button. Show me some love here. I'm really putting myself out there with this information. It is very personal and it's embarrassing, but I really want you to see that I can do this, and maybe you can too. If that means something to you, please subscribe. Click that bell. You get notified every time we have a new video. And leave a comment below. Is this you? Are you doing the same thing? If comments are positive, I'm just going to delete them. Like, that's just what I do. I'll start writing a 20-minute response and go, what am I doing? And I just delete the comments. And usually I block these people so they can't comment again. Or when they do, no one sees it. But I do have a Patreon page too set up if you want to help me along with this journey. But I want to show you that there's just not one way of eating for everyone. There just isn't. There's so many different ways, and different things work for different people. This works for me. It's worked for me before in my 30s, and the same thing's happening now. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.